Okay, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh and good evening to everyone. Okay, we continue for this business research method subject. Now we already cover on the chapter for the research methodology. For this chapter, research methodology, we start with topic on research design. After we done cover of the research design, we are cover all the research philosophy, approach, and research choice. Okay. Okay, let me start on the research design first. Okay, your members still join and hopefully everyone can join today. Okay. Okay, these are the basics. Introduction and definition of the research design. A study design is an action plan to meet the objective answer research question. Procedure required for data collection, measurements, and data analysis to assist researcher to organize and solve research problems. In other words, examples, let's say you want to make one activity. In this case, is research activity. Okay, start with A to Z. Somehow we call that input, process, output. Okay, the all research activity and in the start until end. Okay, so you need to show the visuals. Okay, somehow you can also explain in paragraph. Okay, the first process, the first research activity, second one. Okay, so all the research activity and step by step the process is order. The process can be answer your research question or research hypothesis or research objective. Yes, in research methodology, we have some procedure, we have set assumption in order to make a data collections. Okay, based on the instrument and measurement, we have also step on your analysis data. Okay, everything, all the sequence research activity can also answer your research question, hypothesis, objective, and also your problem statements. So this is one is really important when supervisor or panel asks you, can you explain, can you show your research design? Okay, a lot of the research scholar from your research methodology book, textbooks, okay, so such as that we are covered, that have already give in a WhatsApp group, the book from the Sounders, okay, from the Creswell, from Zygmunt, from Umar Sekaran, they have already proposed not proposed, they have actually provided the research design, meaning that we can follow that the research design, or you can adapt it, adapting the research design from the previous scholar. But the most important thing, you need to write in your research methodology. This has become number one. You need to write on your research design. Okay. That the simple basic explanation on the research design. Okay, we go through the next slide. Okay, this example and a few scholar on the research methodology explain about research design. Okay, Creswell 2009 suggested that a study or research design involve the interactions between research philosophy, research strategy, and research method. Okay, in order to cover all these methods, philosophy, research strategy, and research method, we need a few weeks, and we need few weeks to cover in this part. Okay, today we are just cover on research design, research philosophy, research approach, and research choice. So a lot of in the design of the research, we need to cover, we need to understand. So from the Creswell, not just only research philosophy, so we need also know that what is the research strategy and research method. Okay, slightly difference between others scholar, from example from Kagigolo 1998 and 2000, which involve three components, namely research philosophy, research approach, and research technique. So another difference between Creswell that they have research approach and research technique. Okay, others scholar from Saunders 2019. Okay, this one become our main textbooks from Saunders. Also, further details suggested some basic issues that need to be clarified. Determining accuracy of data collection, technical research analysis procedure. Okay, in this matter, Saunders, they call that this design is onion research design. From Saunders, they are proposed onion research design. Every important issues related research design need to be explained sequentially. Okay, these issues are actually they have 6. They start with the research philosophy. Number 2 is research approach. So we have research strategy, research choice. Option is meaning choice. So we have time horizon and technique and procedure. So today, hopefully we can cover on philosophy, approach and option. Option is something like another word is the choice. Okay, research choice. So that's why I'm highlight that from the previous scholar is depends depend what textbook you are refer. So we have many scholar on research method. You can also follow from the scholar then and you need to follow from their propose and suggestion according their research design. Okay, this is some example. This one from visual, okay, from nested approach from Kagigolo. So they have proposed 3 research on the research design. Number 1 is research philosophy. So they have positivism, interpretism, social constructivism. Number 1 is research approach. So this one experimental, experiment, grounded theory, ethnography, case study. From the research technique, from literature, interview, analysis document, and survey. Okay, if you follow the Kagigolo, so you should be explained in your chapter 3 from this process. Okay, you need to explain research philosophy first. So you need to explain on your research quantitative and qualitative, which one you use. You use philosophy, positivism, or interpretivism. You need to mention, you need to use mention, and also you need to explain. And then also justify why this research more suitable for positivism rather than interpretisms. Okay, so research approach also from after you done explain on research philosophy, you need to also explain on your research approach, and the last one in the research technique. Okay. Okay, but from our textbook from the Saunders, okay, I'm quite suggest from the business researcher and the management researcher, we can apply research onion by Saunders. Okay, they call that research onion. So they have the 6 levels, 6 level philosophy. So we have next after philosophy is approach. So we have another one is about a choice, strategy. 5 time horizon. Number 6 is technique and procedure. Okay, we after this we can interpret one by one from this layer by layer from the 6 layer from Saunders on the research onion. Okay, this is some example. I'm sorry in Malay because my previous research I'm used in the bahasa. So this is another example from the previous research. Also apply the research onion in their research design. Okay, but from the English part, you can refer previously slide. Okay, so the most important thing that we have a few philosophy are most suitable for the research and management, business and management research, but it's not limited only these 5. So if you read more and more research methodology books, you can find others philosophy also. Basically, in research method in business and management, they have at least 5. We start with the positivism, critical realism, constructivism or the interpretisms, and then we have postmodernism and pragmatism. Okay, very simple explanation. If you use the quantitative, so meaning that we can use for the positivism. For the next slide, I will be elaborate more in this matter. For the intro one, if you apply for the quantitative research, mostly we use positivism. Okay, if you use for the in your research, you apply for the methodology qualitative, meaning that you can use interpretism. If you use the mixed method, you can use pragmatism philosophy of your research design. Okay, number two is about the approach. Okay, we call that approach. Approach the theory development, or the simple word is the research approach. In research approach, we have three. Okay, deduction, induction, and abduction. Okay, deduction is mostly suitable for the quantitative research. Okay, induction is based on the qualitative research. If you use of the mixed method, mostly our approach or research approach is abduction. So abduction meaning that you're using both. You're using induction and deduction. Okay. So number three is about the methodology choice. Okay. From your philosophy and approach, now we can know that which one the most suitable for the methodology choice. If you use the mono method quantitative, mono method, which is we call that single, mono method quantitative, mono method qualitative, multi method quantitative, meaning that you using two, not only one. If you use one, meaning that maybe you are actually quantitative mono or qualitative mono. If you use two or more, we call that multi method, which is multi method. We have two also, multi method quantitative, multi method qualitative. Okay, another one, you use both, which is you use one method from quantitative, one method from qualitative. We call that mixed method. So mixed method, we have two actually, mixed method simple and mixed method complex. So in order to choose which one, you are actually mono method quanti, or you are mono method quali, multi method quanti or multi method quali, mixed method simple or mixed method complex, it depends on your research approach, which is you use deduction or abduction or induction. If you use deduction are more suitable on quantitative, your answer can be mono method quanti or multi method quanti. This method is about for the deduction. If you use induction or inductive, you maybe use mono method qualitative or multi method qualitative. In this case, your approach is abduction or abductive, meaning that you use mixed method simple or mixed method complex. So this part is really important, especially for your semester 1 and semester 2, in order to identify which your research design and research methodology. You should be know that you need to read about the research philosophy and research approach before you confirm your methodological choice. Okay. After you done your methodological choice, the fourth layer. So fourth layer, we have the survey, experiment, achiever research, case study, ethnography, action research, grounded theory, narrative inquiry. This part is really important. If you are actually quantitative, meaning that you only have two options. If you are quantitative research, maybe you are actually survey or experiment. You may be survey and experiment. If you are study on the qualitative, you have many options: achiever research, case study, ethnography, action research, grounded theory, narrative inquiry. So you have many options on the qualitative also. Okay, after this I will explain more and more about the philosophy and approach for another set of slide. Okay. So the last one is not last one for the time horizon, the second last. Okay, in the research time, or we call that time horizon, we have two: cross-sectional and longitudinal. If you are study about the what we call that qualitative or time based on your experiment, and in order to achieve your saturated, the most suitable time horizon, this method of research is longitudinal. If your research is more structured, just only one and short time, for example, using the questionnaire, mostly in questionnaire, a more suitable time horizon is the cross-sectional. Okay. Next, in the chapter 3, you need to explain also your technique and procedure. So cover on data collection and data analysis. Okay. So this one, the basic 6 layer is most really important in order to answer your supervisor questions, to answer the panel question from proposal, defense, and viva. You need to master and really understand these 6 layers. So you should be need. You don't have any option. If you want to know which one the most suitable in your research method, you need know in these 6 layers. Okay. Okay, this is another example. Okay, this one a little bit from Bahasa and English, but the most important thing that you need to follow my explanation. Okay, the second one is based on the Creswell. So the previous, this one from the Saunders, but this one is from the Creswell. Okay, from Creswell actually, they have divide by 4, and this one by Creswell 2008. So we have the what we call that when you are study on the mixed method, for example, and this method try to show that example. If you are study in mixed method, we have the triangulation, we have exploratory, we have embedded and explanatory. So really important. So if you are actually study and using for the mixed method, you should be know that which type of your mixed method, which is for the type of the triangulation or exploratory, embedded and explanatory. So in this method also, we also can cover for the another weeks. So we have topic specifically on cover on a mixed method and multi-method. So today just to introduce introduction part, so that in the research methodology, we also cover on the mixed method and multi-method. So this is another example from the Creswell. You should be know that in your mixed method, which category or type, which is your triangulation, maybe your exploratory, explanatory, or embedded. So actually, Creswell also after 2008, 2000 maybe 2011, Saunders proposed 7 type of the mixed methods. Okay. Okay, this is another example that that I'm trying to show, but never mind. In this slide in the bahasa, but the what actually I'm trying to share is actually in order to write in your thesis is most important thing to show your applied. So from the theoretical aspect, yes, we can read from the big scholar and prominent authors in the research method. But in order to write in your thesis, you can apply, you can modify. Make sure that we can match and understand based on your how that your research design can answer your all research question and research objective. This is another example. Okay, if you are from Malaysia and local student, you can see in this figure that how that this their research in part of your research design, they can show that how this process. For example, objective number 1 and 2 use the secondary data for quantitative, and to answer questions number 3, 4, 5 using the questionnaire, and in order to answer the objective number 3, they use the interview. So how that this their objective, the implementation then and method of analysis also align and balancing in order to make sure that all the research design can be answered, yeah, objective, question or hypothesis. Okay, this is another visual from the PhD student, how that they show that their research design. So in this design is according on the mixed method research design. The long name of this design, we call that sequential quantitative to qualitative mixed method research design. So from this visual and this figure, you can see that how that the blended of the qualitative and quantitative. They start with the sequential quantitative, we start with the survey. And so then they go to the survey analysis. So they have actually make both from the survey and interview in the middle side. Okay. Inside they have using both survey and interview analysis. In order to complete their research data collection, they also use the triangulation, meaning that not just only for the survey and interview, there's also in order to answer their research objective question, also support others instrument, which is observation and document analysis. Meaning that from this figure, from this their research from Hafiz and Hanif in their topic helping participation in open online community, their instrument using 4 actually: survey, interview, observation and document. Then they show that sequential quantitative and qualitative mixed method design. So that's why they make a visuals this one in order to answer their research objective and research question. Okay, So this is another visual of research design. Why I show you example and example? So I hope so all the student in faculty management and economy, if you write in your thesis on your research design, you need choose at least one which research design are most related, are most suitable with our research in order to answer your research objective, question, and hypothesis. So that's why I try to give example and example. In this one from Heba Nasim, okay, they are talking about the teacher perception on the effectiveness of the Oxford online placement test at the King Abdul Aziz University. In this matter, how they have three stage. Stage number one is based on the interview for the face-to-face interview. Stage number two, they do the questionnaire. So you can see that they have actually using the both approach for the method. We can consider that interview for the qualitative and questionnaire for the quantitative part. So they are using also another interview, but this one from the telephone interview. So from this both instrument, interview and questionnaire, there will be integral of the qualitative and quantitative finding. In between on the stage 1 and 2 and 2 and 3, they are using also preliminary analysis. Okay. So it is this one another example from how to write research design in your chapter 3. Okay. So this one, for example, example number 1. Okay. This one from Ruzanifah Kosnem, the topic about the gold dinar acceptance in modern monetary system. Empirical evidence in context of gold dinar community in Malaysia. This one, a PhD thesis from University Technology Mara, UITM. So the most important thing we need to learn how to write sentence by sentence, paragraph by paragraph, in order to write the best way on your research design. Okay, so just read. Okay, research design is an overall structure and orientation of investigation which consists of technique or procedure in collecting and analyzing data in order to answer research questions and eventually achieve the research objective. That's the first sentence that show that they are trying to highlight is research design is really important. Okay, in order to show the overall structures and in your research, which is start from your technique, procedure, data collection, and analysis. This is really important. If you want to answer your objective, we need have research design. So research design can assist us in order to answer your research objective. This one based on the Bryman 2005. Okay, Bryman also more suitable scholar for our management and business researcher. Okay, research design should be consistent. That's another point. Research design should be consistent with the research philosophy. That's why in today we hope so we also can cover on the research philosophy, because we need to know our research philosophy such as positivism, interpretism, pragmatism before we know that how to make a collect data, how to choose a sampling, how to make analyze. So that's why another point is really important, that in order to answer all this matter, we should have and write in your research design. They also agree by Sekaran also. So how that this research design also assist us and comprise judgment on the sample choice and calculation analysis. In this research, next they are reflect their research. Okay, next after they are explain how that the research design is really important from the support by Bryman, Saunders, and Sekarans, they are also what we call that show that how this matter related in their research. Okay, that's why they make it the words in this research. The most appropriate design answer the main research question by using cross-sectional. If you still remember in our 6th layer on the Saunders on the onion research, cross-sectional is the last second one. We call that time horizon. In this research, using the cross-sectional field survey using online questionnaire. Field survey is non-experimental. If in quantitative, when people say experimental, it's experimental. If non-experimental, straightforward represent on the survey. Is you actually using survey, meaning that you use the non-experimental. Okay. Next, field survey allow achievement of the research objective hypothesis. They kata this is really important when we using cross-sectional by using survey. It assists us in order to answer their objective and hypothesis and their topic among variable in goal denied accepted model. Okay, field survey able to capture belief or practice from the random sample subjective through the survey questionnaire. The property on field survey tend to have the broader generalizability since data sourced from the variety of individual, firm, and a unit analysis. In cross-sectional survey, this is another paragraph. Independent variable are measured at the same point. Cross-sectional survey allow the collection a large amount of data from the sizable population in highly economical way. So we know that if you use the questionnaire, this is an economical approach, more efficient and practical approach in order to get the data. Mostly if you survey involve the large data compared with the qualitative using the small sample data. So the beneficial using questionnaire and survey actually assist us in order to answer objective and research question. So before on that, in this scholar also highlight and this researcher also highlight before we start on the data collection analysis. This is really important. Should be know that our research philosophy, approach, choice, time horizon, and technique also. Okay. So this one in bahasa Melayu, it's okay. I just skip this one. But if you are actually from local student, you can refer this slide. So this slide also another example how to write in your research design. Okay, this is my example. This is my doctorate. This is my first experience during my doctorate engineering 2008. As an example for number one. Example number two is my clique, my friend actually, Elita Amrina. Okay, we are actually same supervisor in University Technology Mara. University Technology Malaysia, UTM Kuala Lumpur. So we actually in our research design in the chapter methodology, we show the presentation like this. Okay, if you can see we see the example number one first. Okay, this number one is based on our my thesis actually. So my topic is about the Lean Six Sigma and the performance improvement for Malaysia automotive industry. Okay, so the phase one in this part we have 5 phase. Phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, phase 4, and phase 5. In phase 1, we actually cover on the literature review, development, and research methods. Okay, in this part, from the literature review and the development of research method, cover on Lean and Six Sigma concepts. Okay, performance measurement systems, strategic control system, review on the structure acquisition model, and AHP methodological approach. Next, so we also cover on the Lean Six Sigma structured organization performance measure, strategic control system, and performance measurement system, which is in this phase 1 cover on your chapter 2 and chapter 3. In this my case, in these two methods on literature review and research method development cover on chapter 2 and chapter 3. After I'm done phase 1, I can formulate the proposed conceptual, and another one I can develop my research hypothesis. Okay. Next, my research activity is make it design and develop questionnaire. Next, determine the select company for the pilot study and survey. Next, questionnaire, I need to do the validation from the expert validate and using the pilot study. Okay, this one tackle of the phase 2 actually for data collection, cover on the chapter 3 and chapter 4. After I sent to the expert validate and using the pilot study, I need to revise my questionnaire. So next, implement full survey. So we go to the data analysis. We start with the data screening. Actually, data analysis from the chapter 4. We start from data screening, data analysis, discussion, and implication. Next, my phase 4 is doing the case study and validation of the Lean Six Sigma performance improvement tools. So I'm start with determining and select company for the case study. So second one, I need to develop assessment tool and develop a Lean Six Sigma performance improvement assessment tool. So I'm next, my instrument is by interview. So this one tackle and chapter, this one cover on the chapter 5. Validate and confirmation of automotive player or practitioners. Next one, a case study analysis, discussion, and implication. The last one for the phase 5, conclusion and recommendation. In chapter 6, conclusion and recommendation for the continued improvement. So this is another example. Today, mostly example, I try to make it diversified. So different example, different style actually, different method and technique also. So we can use this slide for another we can use this slide for add your understanding in the part of your research design. Okay. All right. Another example, number 2 is from Elita Amrina. Okay, Elita Amrina also they start with the literature review. Okay, next cover the construct, the initial sustainable manufacturing performance measure. So next we go to the survey methodology. They have identify, select company, design, develop questionnaire, conduct survey, data analysis, hypothesis test, propose, set key sustainable manufacturing performance measure for automotive company. Next, they are develop sustainable manufacturing performance evaluation tool for automotive company. They are explain deep on this method. So establish analysis structure, construct network relationship models using the ISM methodology, calculate important reach using ANP methodology, develop sustainable management performance, evaluate the tool for automotive company. So I just make it fast because I not discuss their content, but the most important thing, I try to show the flow. Okay, from literature, construct, survey methodology, develops tools, and then the last one, they develop the software based on the software design, coding, testing, and validation. The last one is discussion and conclusion. So this is another example in order to produce the research design, represent on phase by phase, through chapter by chapter. Okay, you can see that figure 3.1 overview of overall structure of research design of their research methodology. Okay, another really important thing I try to show you is according to the value of the PhD and master by research students. Okay, we can also produce our own research design. Okay, but not 100% new, but you can adapt from the previous research design and propose another research design in order to answer your research objective and research question. So this one example from Nur Tutiani Abdul Wahid, actually their study develop a module. So their main research objective is develop module. From their research, they are using DDR and ADI. So how that they are show that the combination between DDR, they are applied using the DDR and the ADI model. So they show the first one, they show they have 3 phases. Phase 1 about the analysis, and also same like DDR and ADI. Also the first phase is analysis. The second phase is actually design and develop, but in ADI model we actually split design number 2, number 3 is develops. And for the phase 3 for DDR only evaluation, but ADI is stand for implementation and evaluation. If you are notice actually ADI, ADDI stand A analysis, D design, D develop, I implementation, E evaluation. Is meaning that these 5 actually the step in order to answer their research objective, all research objective, they need to follow this step. And number 1 analysis, 2 design, 3 develop, 4 implementation, and 5 evaluation. So little bit difference between DDR, design and development research. They are using only 3. So they actually have analysis. They combine together, design and development and evaluation. Don't have the implementation. From this design, Nur Tutiani develop the own their research design. Okay. From part analysis, they try to analyze the need to main features of new developed module through expert interview and second one systematic literature review. From design, actually their topic actually try to make it features for the proposed M by design in storyboard. So consists on proposed M, multimedia, proposed M, and booklet. Actually, they have to come up. Sorry, they have developed 2. One is about the multimedia, and second one about the booklet. So this is a part of the design. So they continue after design, they make developments. Main features proposed M to develop based on proposed M through the validation process. They are also applied for the validation from the expert validation. For the implementation, they start from pilot study for the reliability part, testing the proposed M for the using the quasi-experimental from the pre-post to control group design. Okay, formative evaluation by classroom observation. The last one, evaluation using summative evaluation. They have come out the test score, open-ended question, and clinical interview. So from this method, if you are actually study in specific in a certain topic, you can also propose your research design to make sure your supervisor and panel to clear actually your direction in order to answer your objective question. This is my research design. Okay. Okay, this is another example from Nur Fahana Ramli actually. So this one from University Putra Malaysia, how that they show that in their research, their main objective is want to develop and validate the instrument. These are the keywords. Develop and validate instrument measure to science teacher instructional preparedness in STEM implementation. Okay, so they have a few steps here. They have 10 steps. Step 1, instrument conceptualization. Step 2, instrument development. Step 3, phase content validation. Step 4 for pilot study. Step 4, reliability test. Step 6, item analysis. Step 7, revise the instrument. Step 8, field study, construct validation. Step 9, criterion validation. Step 10, compile final stamps instrument. So they cover 2-phase validation. Okay, in this part. Okay, sorry, not mentioned. Okay, from this Nur Fahana Ramli and previous one from No Tutiawani, they also have copyright because you actually propose an adaptive new research design. You can make a copyright to show that your originality. So this research design have originality because Notiani already copyright. Okay. Also same with the Nofana Ramli. Also they have already copyright their research design. Okay, this is my example during my doctorate engineering. So I'm also propose a new research design in my research in order to answer my research objective. So I propose, we call that Lsspi assessment tool. Okay, the first L is look goal setting. Second S, structure the hierarchy. Third S is set the benchmark. P is performance assessment. I is an improvement control plan. Okay, from this first else, actually, I try to define the goals, identify criteria, sub-criteria, and alternative. Next structure, I need to identify the drawing, the hierarchy of Lspi. For the set of benchmark, I determine pairwise, calculate the measure relative weight, and summary result. Okay, next, my performance assessment will be rating the measures. The last one, for the improvement control plan, I have to propose and implement their self-assessment tool. So this 5 actually, this Lspi also can assist in my thesis in order to answer the research objective and research question. Okay, so this one also can copyright because this research design I developed. So that's why you can see that they have the number here, copyright Lspi LY 2013-0079, meaning that this research design already protected, okay, using by copyright regarding on the Malaysia legals. Okay. Okay, have one question actually from Mursi. This structure research methodology need citation to or just only based on the structure of flow, the research methodology? Okay, the best thing is, Mursi, before you propose the outline of research flow or the research design, you need to explain first. Okay, in this research, in this business research or management research, we need to follow previous scholar. Okay, from the business scholar, for example, you follow the Saunders. The first thing first, you need to explain most of the research in management apply research design by proposed by Saunders. Okay, however, in this research, more extended, we need to modify or adapt from the previous Saunders in order to show that our research activities. So my suggestion is, before we not just skip or jump to our own flow research methodology, before that you need to explain from the perception and from the previous research textbook on the methodology plus on the literature review part of the research design before you propose your research flow methodology. Okay, so kena ada dua-dua lah, kan? Kita tak boleh terus direct tunjuk kita punya research design lah. If presentation like this, okay for video presentation. Okay, is actually not just only your presentation on the colloquium proposal defense, but the most important thing in your thesis writing. Before you show in your slide on your proposal defense, for example, you need to deep write and make it clear explanation in your chapter 3 on the specific on the research design writing. You need to mention from this study in order to answer your objective and research question. which the most suitable research design you can follow, which you have the option, you just follow from the previous one, or you can adaptive from the previous one in order to make sure that your research activity can be answer your research objective. Okay. Okay, thank you, Mursi. Okay, thank you. Another one question from I don't know, because they put the name just iPad Din. Okay. Okay. If you still have question, please ask in our chat platform. So I try to answer from your question in chat. Okay, we continue. Okay, so this one, if you refer the slide, I already passed you the slide last week, and also the previous semester video also. I try show you that the how that the last semester also we cover in this same slide also. So today we cover on the platform Zoom. Actually, from this slide, actually I try to show you example from the real thesis, and not just only from the Malaysia thesis, but from the overseas thesis, how to actually write on your research design. This one from Duratul Ain Abdul Razak. So their topic on the learning to lead strategic decision making in shared leadership organization, challenge and prospect for startup SMEs in Malaysia. Okay, so you can see that how they write their research design. They start in the first paragraph. The research design played a crucial role, especially during the data collection analysis phase, and serve an overall framework for the study. Okay, it's actually same that I'm explained before, that the definition and introduction, what is actually research design. So that's why research design is really important to show overall your research activity and framework in your studies. Okay, before obtain the research data, a systematic and carefully planned data collection strategy is required. Okay, this is to ensure the information received from the respondent is sufficient for the research to derive a conclusion. Okay, in the second paragraph, and their study highlight that is their research strategy. For this study, they use the case study chosen for data collection strategy due the research paradigm and philosophical viewpoint, which had been discussed in the earlier subsection of this chapter. The research method employed for this study are in deep. So they are using the instrument. What instrument? They use interview, they use document analysis and field note taking. Okay. In this study, there are two types of data used. Primary data and collect during the interview. Okay. As the secondary data, the second one is secondary data. Is derived from the SME startup documents such as capital, company, annual report, meeting minutes, company website, chart, related online information. In parallel, the field notes taking to place at the same time as the interview. So this example, two paragraph in order to write the research design. They actually have more and more paragraph actually. So that's why it's really important. In our first class, if you still remember our first and second class, so I give you website. You need to get many, you need to download many theses as your referral. Okay, yeah. So if you want to write a thesis, you need to download more and more theses as the guideline and reference in order to write one sentence and one paragraph. Okay, we need to learn in the academic writing how to write in one sentence, how to write in one paragraph. If you want to write in research design, what the first sentence I need to write, what's matter. Okay, you need to show, you need to look the previous thesis, how to write in research design. From you refer one, another 2, 3, 4, 5, 10, maybe 20, 30, 40, 15 thesis, you can get more understanding how the best way to write your research design. Okay. So this one from Brinette Kids. Okay, student lead assessments in the primary classroom. Okay. My research will take qualitative approach since I aim. Okay, this if you apply for the qualitative research, you can use words we aim. If you are study on the quantitative, we cannot use I or we. So in quantitative, mostly we report in this study. Okay, but if you are study in qualitative, because researcher also the instrument in your research, we can use I, we, or something like that. Okay. Okay, my research will take qualitative approach since I aim to better understand how to lead assessment affect both student and teacher attitude for feeling in what Primans call the mutual collaboration, in this case between the participants account and the student data. Okay, it involves talking forward as meta classroom based inquiry research that attempt to draw attention in high stake and large scale assessment by using teacher based research. Okay, it will integrate. This method they highlight that in this research using both. It will integrate action research and case study. In this method, they are using two method in qualitative. We call that multi-method qualitative because they are using both two, which is they are using action research and case study. So we have mono method quali. In this case, because qualitative, so they have option mono method quali, mixed method or multi-method qualitative. In this method, because you're using two, in qualitative, we call that multi-method qualitative. Okay. Okay, Musi mentioned that if you are actually master student, okay, master student, that's why I'm highlight. So we need to write on your research design for the visual part and about the drawing part and visual and figure part. You can also just adopted previous research. You can adopt from the Umar Sekaran. You can adopt from the Creswell. You can adopt from what we call that Sounders. Okay, if you, for your example, you follow the slide from the Sounder, that my PhD, that I'm using the Sounders. I just circle whatever that I applied. Okay, I try to answer this matter from the Mursi. I go back the previous slide. Okay, this one. Okay, this one, if you actually from the master student, okay, this layer, 6 layer are actually proposed by Sounders, by this one. This was the original what we call that research design for the Sounders. Okay, you can using this visuals and figures, and you just circle whatever you are apply in your research. And this is another good examples. You just circle and select which one. For example, in this study we using positivism, deductive, using mono method quantitative, using survey, and then we use cross sectional. You just circle in which factor that you use in your research. Okay, and this is another example. For if you are actually master student, you no need to propose the new one like so this one is new lah. For example, from okay, this one. Okay, you can also from the master student also you can also apply for this matter, but somehow that maybe is quite more extension. If you actually adapt or make it new for the copyright. For this one is actually adaptive. That's why they can propose. So this one also adapt. But in this matter, by myself actually is not adapt. This will become a new one. So this matter how that for the master student is not required. Okay, if you are a PhD, more encouraged. Also PhD is not necessary to apply for the adaptive or new one. You can also adopt for the research. Okay, I make a summary. Research design, you can adopt or adapt or new. Okay, for the master student, mostly adopt is more suitable. It's not more like suitable actually. Okay, in PhD also, you can also use the adopt research design, not necessary to adapt in order to represent all your research design. Okay. Okay, alright. Saya demam sikit lah. Ada sesama demam, suara macam sakit tekak sikit. Kalau suara tak okey tu, saya minta maaf lah. Okay, we go to the another examples from Khairul Anwar Saad. Okay, this one pre-coaching Indonesia, exploring implementation of a professional learning communities program for Arabic language secondary. So this one just example. Okay, you can refer the slide. So that's this in this method of slide just show show another style of writing on the research design. And despite they are according to their vows 2001, a research design is essential, structures, planning. The second one, their site also Creswell 2009 provided vibrant framework. So we need know about the philosophical paradigm, strategy, approach, and research method. Creswell on the research design 2009 also consider application of the mixed method. Okay, from the similar Vin, Tashakori, Teddy, and Ted Lee. Explain that mixed method study. This method, I know that in this research using mixed method. That's why they cite Creswell and Win et al. Okay, 1998. So this is their drawing. They show that how this research design related on the philosophical, strategy inquiry, and research design and research method also. Okay, so needs another writing also. Okay, okay. I hope so. You can refer this slide for check some example how to write research design, and then you can apply for your thesis, for your project, in order to write in your research design. Okay, all right. Okay, just I skip this one. Okay, before we go to another slide, and before we go to another slide to discuss, I need to stop share. So we go to another slide to discuss on the research philosophy and choice. Okay, maybe I'm request for 5 or 10-minute breaks. Okay, you prefer 5 minute or 10-minute breaks? Maybe 5 minutes only. Okay, we try make it a break only 5 minutes before we start on the another topic on the research philosophy, approach, and choice. Okay, thank you very much. We take 5. Okay, we continue for another topics today. Okay, on research, on research philosophy, approach and choice. Okay, okay, this is the basic about the research philosophy. Research philosophy is an investigation of the nature, cause, and principle of reality. Knowledge or value founded on logical reasoning. Among the interests in understanding philosophical issues in conducting research is to identify, explore, explain, and create research design. Okay, if you actually start on your topic on, or you want to write your research thesis, student always try to highlight their interests and then explain and discuss on their issue, on the research issue, on the specific topic. Okay, from your narrative, from your explaining on that issue and topic, supervisor or panel can be predict what actually method are most suitable on your research. Okay, I try to make it some intro, some basic on the research philosophy. The keywords for quantitative is actually accurate. Okay, if you want to study in quantitative, you need to understand, actually you need to best the best one. Okay, so that's why in order to choose a method is represent and the best or accurate, represent on data also accurate, represent on analysis also accurate, to identify theory also accurate, to select and identify theory also accurate. So the word is about accurate. Okay, so qualitative is not accurate. Okay, that's why if you choose quantitative, you need to really understand, because quantitative require for the accurate methods. Number two is positive. Positive. Whatever we make a decision, actually based on theory and literature. Meaning that in order to choose whatever method, you choose your sample size, sample technique, you choose your variable, you choose your type of analysis. Everything in your research activity is become positivism, is actually based on theory and based on literature. Okay. When we talk about issues and problem, quantitative is actually whatever topic you want to cover, actually have discussed clear before. Meaning that, oh, this topic have done a few researcher before, but not the detail, but from the basic and intro and knowledge have been done and have from the previous study or the from reading also, you can see from the journal and the books that topic have already covered from before. This one in terms of knowledge and theoretical is not new. Okay, that's why if in order you try to explain your case or your issue, so we can clear and understand from your explanations is actually are more suitable on the quantitative or qualitative. For quantitative is actually you just to identify and try to examine. That's it. In order to identify and determine, you need to test the theory. If you want to test the theory, you need the hypothesis testing. Okay, okay, that's part we call that a quantitative. So different with the qualitative. Qualitative research is different. So they are actually interpretism, meaning that is a very subjective. They are subjective, they are flexible. Okay, they have many research strategy. So they are actually based on their human. No need to follow the theory. Theory just only knowledge for understanding and meaningful. Okay, if you use the theory just for understanding matters only, no need to test, no need to use that theory in your model on your frameworks. And in order, we call that variable. In quantitative, we call that variable. In qualitative, we call that thematics. Okay, the approach is different between qualitative and quantitative. If the quantitative, they are using the questionnaire. So in questionnaire, they are instruments. But in qualitative, not just only using instrument like interview and observation, but researcher also instrument. That's why you need to very clear. You need have very good basic in this one. Maybe should be you are actually is not the wrong side. Actually, you are actually from your issues and problem. You need to use the qualitative, but suddenly you use a quantitative. So this matter become your major. So if you actually wrong choose of your method, meaning that you are actually major corrections. Okay. Hopefully, you need to clear and understand about the research philosophy in order to decide in this matter how your issues and problem are most suitable for the quantitative research or qualitative research or multi or the mixed method one. Okay. Okay. The importance of research philosophies. Okay. Why we need to write a research philosophy in your chapter 3 in your research methodology? Number 1, to explain your research design. Number 2, to identify effective and less effective research design in the different setting and situations. Number 3, to identify and create research design that may be beyond the research experience. So it's really important that we know that we're not the only one do some research activity. So research is already implement from the before and quite 1,000 years before. Okay, but maybe approach and technique are different. But research is really important, not just for academia, but for the practitioner and the government institution also. So that's why, in order to make sure that this is the best research activity or research design, in order to answer your research objective or research question. No others direction, no others objective. If you do a research, whatever you do in your research, whatever activity in your research, the most important thing, we need to answer your research objective and research question. Okay, philosophy, assumption of the research. Okay, this one, this is really important. This one you need to make sure you need to understand. Somehow students need to read books. So please read a book, then you can know that the ontology, epistemology, and rationology well. So I already give you the Saunders book. So this is another, this is our main books from this class, our text research books. Please make sure you read a book from the Saunders also before we start on class. And so once I try to explain and these different things, you can differentiate between these three assumption, you can also get another knowledge from your readings. Okay. Okay, from these philosophical assumptions, number 1 is about ontology. Ontology, we call that the nature of reality ontology. What is considered a reality so that it can be structured as a type of knowledge. Okay, the keyword is how that this reality nowadays from your research idea, and you want to make the research issue and the problem one from the research can be structured as the type of knowledge. If you choose positivism, meaning that is a realism and real facts. If you want to study, you want to determine, you want to examine, you want to identify from this topic and another topics, that's become positivism, because in this matter, realism or real facts, you have literature, you have theory to explain this, that become the real facts. Okay, but if your research is become idealism, just only because you have experience on that from your observation, from the current situation, we need to do some research because not many people clear and understand about this issue and this problem. That's why I want to study this topic. This topic is new and become this stage only idealism. So how you want to make sure to make realize of your idealism can be a practice, for example. Okay, it's not defined but socially construct. Okay, meaning that yeah, somehow people not clear on this, but I'm experienced 20 years experience on this. I can see this one. So that's why I propose this topic become my research. So this is part only just we started or initial on the idealism. So this part interpretism. So interpretism represent on the qualitative research. If you are quantitative research and positivism, so you need to make sure which in your research. So for example, I give number 1 and number 10. Okay, everyone try to feedback in the chat. Okay, please respond in your research. You are actually the topic research. I put 1 to 10. Okay, if the study is actually everyone know that. For example, you want to study about teacher leadership. You want to study about leadership. We know that teacher leadership. Everyone know that what is teacher leadership. We know that teacher leadership have the theories. So, but we just need to test to make sure you want to identify and you want to determine whether that this teacher practice are implement at the school or which one much better to implement teacher practice among genders, among experience, among what we call that from other stage, another stage. So different between practice, something like. So in this matter, how you know that teacher practice, we know that have already new theory. Sorry, we have know that we have many literature. So have theory to cover what about the teacher leadership practice. If you are study on this matter, you have actually know that that topic have a lot of literature, a lot of they have theory, they have literature. So if the best one, they actually more completed, you need to give the answer is 10. But if your topic is become new, not many literature, not many people understand. So this is another I think the new phenomena. Okay, so this become uniqueness. So this topic unique, this topic not many covered. So this is another phenomena. So you need to explore and explore. Okay, which one in your research meter? You are actually number 10, number 9, number 8, 7, 6, 5, 3, 2, 1, 0. So 0 meaning that this is the first one, no literature, no theory as all. You can put maybe 1, 2, 3. Okay, meaning that 1 is less, 10 is more and most. So if you want to study this topic, easy to get the theory, easy to get the literature, mostly very much easier. You put 10. Okay. In your case, please put you actually in your research which range, number 1 or number 10. Okay, everyone can be give some feedback. I want to know that which everyone need to write in your chat. In your research meter is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Which one? Okay. Please respond in the chat. Okay. Are you clear that my questions? Everyone? I just waiting in the chat room, so nobody respond my question. My question is
Doctor.
Yeah.
Doctor, that's mean our topic, let's say my research topic, whether our source are less in the or
which is this one. If you refer on the article journals, you refer that other source from the thesis, you can easier to get many literature. You already find the theory. So your research just only want to test. So no need to find another team. So everybody, for example, I make it simple. I can make it simple. In your research, have done before or not? Okay.
Okay.
Many cover in this topic or not? Okay. If too many, you can put 6. Sorry, 10. And if still less, 0 study or something like that, maybe you can put 1, 2, and 3. So I just want to know that which the range your topic, which actually the research meter range.
Okay.
Boleh ya saya nak just to make it respond in our chat platform. Tak ada ni yang respon ni. Saya tengok je. Okay. Musi represent 8. Okay, it's good. Others? Wow. Okay. Baru 2. Lain-lain mana? Kasturi 6. Okay, 7. It's good lah. 4, 7. Okay. Okay, 7. Okay, some Choi need to repeat a question. Okay, from your topic. Okay, from your topic. So let's say you are actually a researcher. My question is try to identify from your research topic. If you, for example, number 10. Number 10 is meaning that you have know that the theory. You know you have many research cover and that's this topic. You easy to understand the topic because mostly cover on literature, not just only Malaysia but international also. Easy to get the article literature from latest one 2022, 2021. Okay, meaning that the position is good lah, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. But maybe you have difficulties. Okay, very difficult to find related theory. So this topic is very uniqueness. So this has become new part of phenomena. Very difficult to find the case, not just only in Malaysia but in the international also. So you have make a challenge. You have faced a challenge in order to get some article of thesis to understand that matter. Okay. If difficulty, mostly difficulty is 0, 1, 2. So just ask which area, which meter from your research knowledge. Okay. Okay. Just everyone already put. Okay. If you answer 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, you are actually quantitative research. If you are actually quantitative research, mostly your answer is 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. If you are actually qualitative, your answer is 1, 2, 3, 4. That's why this is my answer. Because the knowledge is less, that's why we need go to the field work. That's why we need to ask, we need to do interview to get answer and information more and more. Okay, that's why you need to still interview until saturated, because you want to make clear that the issues and the problem. Why quantitative give 9, 8, 7, 10? Because this topic have done theory. So we have theory. We can refer the theory. We can test the theory to confirm. Quantitative just to confirm, just to identify. That's it. We don't need to explore. We no need to deep explanation. So if you are actually not clear, you need to do some more explanation and then exploration. If the answer exploration and deep explanation, you should be give the answer is 1, 2, 3, 4. And that's why I ask you, I want to know everybody here should be know that you make a right decision or you need to make improvement. Okay. For example, your answer is Choi is 10. Meaning that Choi is very, very clear on that topic from your study and from your reading. So you have clear on this matter that, so in order to make decisions, already know that which the theory, which the specific variables, which the previous study from local and international. We know that how many empirical research before. You know that the best one for research design, which one the sampling size, sampling technique we need to apply. Okay, so if your answer is 10, is mostly perfect lah, and but I think that as the student, maybe our answer should be 9 to 8, because we need to still, if you are actually confident on your selection, but we need to still to review and read from multiple and diversified article from local and international to make much clear which the best selection on that research activity. Okay, thank you for your feedback and questions also. Okay, faham okay. You need to make sure that, that's why I feedback on the nature of reality. The keyword is type of knowledge. Okay, so you can ask your friends regarding on this topic. Actually, according to knowledge, is become clear or unclear. So clear is 10, unclear is 0. So you're actually from 0 to 10, which number? Okay, if you are actually 9, 8, meaning that you know that in this matter, how the topic already know that information, because we can find many theory and many literature. Okay, but if you are qualitative, that's why the keyword is here is idealism. They still new, so that's why it's just only idea. So we not define but social construct. Very difficult to find theory, very difficult to find specific accurate knowledge on this matter, but everyone, just because this is a become, we start with the idea that we call that interpretism. Okay, number
Doctor,
2, that yes,
Doctor.
yes.
Okay, as a PhD or master level, at this point, what is your advisable? Whether we concentrate more on quantitative or qualitative or open?
You can apply for the quantitative and qualitative, doesn't matter. So you are actually PhD or master. For me, it depends on your problem statements and issues, but somehow you should be know that certain problem we can answer just using the questionnaire, because you want just to confirm. Okay, but if you want to study, for example you want to study dekat sekolah pedalaman, okay, we don't have the knowledge on that. So by hook by crook, you need to go there, you need to see, you need to observe, you need to make interview to make sure you are very clear what happened there, what the problem faced on the students. So that's why no option at all. You need to go the field work, you need to the interview the teachers, you need to interview from their student and the parent in order to answer your problem or issues. Macam tu dapat, Syaifuddin? So if
Okay, alright.
for the master student is up to you. So I cannot say that I cannot to recommend which one is better and easier if you are actually apply for the quantitative and qualitative. But in research we have limitation. We have limitation. You should be know we have the time limitation. So don't make very complex. Okay, try to make it. You need to discuss with your supervisor. So we should be have relevance prediction and strategy lah in order to complete graduate on time kan. So in order to done 2 or 3 years, depend on master and PhD, you need to make realistics. Okay, don't try to study a lot of things lah, and just focus whatever you want to study, and then need to identify which the best research strategy. For example, if your topic is quite uniqueness, just straight away study for the case study. For example, if this topic is become phenomenal, just using the research strategy phenomenology. If you want to make something like testing, for example, you can apply for the experiment. You can get the result before and after. Okay, before we implement training, this is a situation. After we give some of the training, so result is much better. So you want to differentiate between before and after, and then you can apply for the experiment. Whatever is we can measure which the best one for quantitative or qualitative is in order to answer your problem statement. It's dependent on problem statement. The best answer what method I need use in my research is depend on your problem statement. From the problem statement, from here we can know that from your problem statement, which is your problem statement can solve by positivism or interpretism. If your topics, your problem, we know that this is not new. Okay, this one, everyone face this matter. So just I want to confirm that in Malaysia, for example, in Malaysia workers, maybe they are actually type A or type B. So in this matter, you can use the questionnaire, meaning that you can. But you still blur. In workers in Malaysia, we don't know what is actually the type. So what actually the problem the workers Malaysia face right now. So you are not clear on that matters. So by group, no option at all. You need to do some qualitative, for example, do an interview.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
But the most important thing you need to control lah. Need to control because we have the time limitation. Okay. All right. A second one, we go to the acceptable knowledge. Okay. This one, nature of reality, this will become the basic knowledge. So this one, how to generate the knowledge. How to generate knowledge by research. Okay. Now we need to implement research. We need to develop. So from the knowledge, we need to extend. So we need to develop a research. In order to do some research, positivism is objective. You have many facts. You have numerical. You have the statistical. You can do some experiment. You can review. You can do a simulation. So this become positivism. Okay. From your problem, from your objective, you can solve of that by subjectively. We can do some social by observation, by interview. We can do some exploratory. You can do from the deep explanatory. You can do the observational. Okay, this method of the interpretism. Okay, so kalau you punya answer tadi dekat ontology is positivism, you need to consistent lah. Epistemology also positivism. Okay, the last one is about the output, or something like we call that the value or significance. The role, nature of research value or zoology. So please remember, you make sure that you can differentiate between ontology, epistemology, or zoology. Zoology is output and your contribution, and also we call that output. If the positivism is free value, mostly in quantitative, our result is more on descriptive and significance. For example, the relationship between A and B is significantly. So your answer is scientific and systematic. That's it. That's why you need to numerical and statistic in order to answer your research objective. But qualitative, interpretism, value consumption is based on the interpretation and experience. And you make a purposive sample. You interview 10 participants. Okay, from your transcribe that you get the team and sub teams. So you're from the observation, you can see that what actually happenings. Okay, from your observation, from your based on your checklist, then you can know that what actually you are actually explore, or you can deep explaining on whatever you see from your observation. And also from the document. So that's why interpretism or qualitative researcher, the value is consumption based on their interpretation and experience. And if quantity doesn't matter, whatever we get answer from questionnaire, whatever respondent give the answer, we just make a mean or standard deviation in order to answer your objective and research question. Your answer should be represent the number 0 to 1 in order to make sure your answer is less than 0.05 or 0.01 to represent a significant value, which is significant or not significance. So you have hypothesis, which is can answer, reject or accept your hypothesis. That's matter we call that scientific and systematic. And so that's why in order to write chapter 1 especially, we need have some good plan actually. So you should be know the direction. Okay, kalau if I use this problem statement, what's our objective? If I do this objective, how to answer this objective? What theory to testing? This method no need theory, meaning that this interpretism. So your positivism, you need to have the theory. So what data, how to collect the data? What instrument I need to use? So after I'm used the best instrument, I have know that how to collect the data. So the answer, how to interpret the answer. So based on significant value or based on the explanation. So this is the best explanation. So from this meta activity, you can know better. So in my research, it's more suitable on quantitative or qualitative. Right? Okay, so please careful on these three. Some of lecturer also panel also ask you. Okay, for example, I ask and okay, Saifuddin, can you explain on your research what is your ontology, epistemology, and nosology? So you get ready. Some of the panel will ask you from your research topic. Can you explain and what is your ontology, epistemology, and your nosology? Okay. Sir, I was see the template. I think that state that we should write 6 objectives. Is this some of the master or PhD? Because there are more, the number of objectives are the more length I get the master degree. We need to write our thesis between 10K 20K. Okay. For PhD and master in UPSI, we don't have specific numbers. Okay, master student should have 4 objectives. PhD student have 6 objectives. For example, master 4 objectives, PhD 6 objectives. So we don't have the minimum and maximum number for the PhD and master student. You need to consult and discuss with supervisor. Let's say you are my student. If you are my student, I still can accept if you are PhD only 2 objectives. No problem at all. Okay. In order to answer your objective, it depends on the process, Moin. Okay. Doesn't matter you have many objectives, represent you have many process. No. For example, let's say your objective to develop system. It's not easy to develop a system. So in order to develop the system, we have many process. So we have many process. So you need to settle one process to another process. So for example, your second objective to develop a modules, or you want to develop a model. It's not easy to implement the model and to propose the module. So every single objective, they have specific process. So in PhD, we don't talk about many quantity in terms of objective and research question. We discuss regarding how the complex process in order to answer your research objective. No problem. So we are actually professionals. We not measure by quantify. We are measured by quantity. If me, I can acceptable. If you are actually PhD, you can use only one objective for PhD. For me, no problem, no issue, because we need to see that what their objective. Or we can see that, oh, to develop a system, just one objective, because we know that in order to develop a system, they have 20 process. So meaning that, wow, they need too many things you need to do. You need to do some interview, need to use the review, need to do case study, you need to do some experiment, need to do some simulation, need to validate, need to some case study. So a lot of method of research activity need to do a process in order to complete the development of systems. That part we are measure. We are not measured by quantified numbers, our objective and PhD. Sorry, PhD or master. But this one, but it's okay. When some maybe you discuss with your friend, maybe you ask your friend, so maybe your friend measure that, oh, if you are PhD student, at least you have 6 objective. You are actually master student, you need 4 objective. It's actually this one subjective matter. That's why I'm really suggest we need to discuss with your supervisor, which are most what you call that, suitable for the PhD and master. I believe that your supervisor not happy if you ask that question, because in order to make sure that how many objective and research question is depend on your problem statement. If you are not ready on problem statement, how we need to measure the numbers and quantify your objective and research question? The most important thing, in order to answer your all problem statement, how many objective and research question need to propose or develops. In order to answer in order to know that how many question and objective is depend 100% based on your problem statement. Okay. Okay, thank you. Question by Moin. Okay. Okay, we go to the next slide. Okay. So still, and your friends still have difficulty to join our Zoom, maybe network or internet problem. Okay, we go through one by one. Okay, positivism. Okay, based on the philosophy that knowledge can be found and not built and create. It's something like research philosophy is something like that we already discussed here in positivism. For example, for ontology, it's based on the real fact of the idealism. Okay, there are 4 factors that underline the decision to choose positivism. It's clear that we display the positivism can be applied and transferred in the social science research. Okay, if you are use the positivism, no problem, because we are actually in the field in the social science. Based on the ontological assumption, positivism believes that social reality exists objectively, independently, and cannot be bound by time and context. Okay, proof and disproof, hypothesis or relationship. Okay, just to make a discuss and make clear for this matter. Somehow in our class, we not only depend based on slide, but the most important thing that you understand this topic. Okay, in qualitative and quantitative, don't measure by interview and questionnaire. Some people just make simple differentiate. If you use questionnaire, you are actually quantitative. You use the interview, meaning that you are qualitative. Actually, the difference is not clear. Okay, you actually not clear if you just highlight that I'm use questionnaire, I'm quantitative, I'm interview qualitative. It's not clear actually. The most important thing is based on instrument. From that instrument, which is I'm use instrument questionnaire, I'm use instrument interview, observation of document. So how that this document and observation, interview, and your survey can answer your objective. In order to answer an objective, we should know that about we call that assumption. Okay, if I ask you, need to give some feedback, everyone need to give response. Everyone, which one agree? Which one agree here? You need to answer agree or not agree. Quantitative researcher and quantitative researcher also can use interview. Everyone agree or not agree? Quantitative research can also use interview. Minta tolong respon dekat bahagian chat. Joy agree. Joy agree that quantitative also can use the interview. Asbullah also agree. Mursi also agree. Okay, you are actually, you know that, okay, doesn't matter. Quantitative research also can use a interview. Why? So this is just some justify. In interview, we have 3 types. Interview, we have 3 types. First, structured. Second, semi-structured. Third is unstructured. For quantitative research, we only can use structured question. No need for, sorry, we cannot be apply for the interview to ask semi-structured or unstructured question. Okay, what type, what example structured question? For example, you go to the restaurant, and pelayan tanya nak makan apa, and what actually food or drink you want. So very structured question. And where you live, and what is your name, and so you are from. Okay, the structured question. Okay, meaning that interview you can apply for face-to-face. You can use by telephone interview, no problem. That become another structured question for quantitative. Okay, why another thing? So we know that the structured question, meaning that no need to deep explanation. Okay, the second point, no need deep explanation. So if the interview, for example, you interview 10 people, so 10 people give many view, many opinions and perceptions. So participation A give the another's rich data from their views, so another participation. So this is not suitable for the quantitative research. Okay, so quantitative research is something like that. You can use the interview, but from the structured interview only. Okay, jauh soalan. Are all structured interview is quantitative? Okay, this one is really good. So mostly we not using the term or structured interview for quantitative, structured interview for qualitative. Okay, the most important thing you should be know that this matter. Quantitative is objectively, quantitative objectively. Qualitative is subjectively. If you are a researcher in qualitative, you can use all. You can mix, okay? You can blend. Okay, my set of the interview question, I can have a few questions on structured. I have few questions on the semi-structured. I have few questions on the unstructured. No problem, because qualitative is subjectively. Okay, but in the quantitative, we are only use the interview because of objectively. In this case, are more suitable only on the structured interview. So in this part of structured interview, we only need some direct answer only. So we cannot apply for deep explanation. If you actually ask the question and suddenly participant try to elaborate more and deeper, is actually not suitable. You make the question for quantitative research, because quantitative research, the answer should be direct. Okay, should be direct, not for deep explanation. Okay, clear on that, okay. Okay, close-ended question is another things. Okay, because close-ended question in the set of the questionnaire. Okay, the set of questionnaire, we have both section, for example. Close-ended question, which is demographic question, and the Likert question. For the close-ended question, you open the question to answer. But the most important thing is feedback. How sure you, if you make a close-ended question, every one respondent can be answered. I have experience, maybe Moin, you have experience also before. So somehow respondent not answer for the close-ended question. Maybe they write dash, just only write thank you, good luck. Okay, somehow that they are not answer your specific question. So the most critical as researcher, how practical way close-ended question can be participated by respondent, and the answer from the respondent can be answer your research objective. That I think that you should be know that the difference between interview and close-ended question. Close-ended question you can add in the last part in your set of the interview, so to get some another views or suggestion from respondent. But from the interview, mostly I believe that from the interview, if you ask the question, the participant will be answer. But the close-ended question, if respondent not answer that question, no issue, because maybe this is another additional in your questionnaire set in order to get another point of view from your respondent. So in the qualitative, you need to purposively, for example, your sample technique is purposive. You select purposively to the participant in order to answer the specific question interview. And open-ended is open-ended. So meaning that open-ended is not interview question. And okay. So this is another to be much clear about the positivism. I try to cover by 8 points here. The observer must be free. This different. If you are qualitative, researcher is observer, and researcher is observer. But quantitative must be free. We not observer, and we actually based on our instrument. Our instrument is questionnaire. So the observer not include. Okay. Human interest, it should be irrelevant. We are actually not human interest. Qualitative, yes. Qualitative, human interest, but quantitative, no. Because we are scientific and systematically, we not involve the human interest. Also, the observer, we are actually not. Explanation, yes. In quantitative, we actually explain, but not deep. Must indicate causation. It's not actually try to what we call that deep explanation, just to make a general explanation. For example, based on your result. Okay, this result show that a relationship between A and B is significant because p value less than 0.05. Your answer straightforward, scientific, and systematically based on the p-value. So based on the p-value, your answer is significant and not significant. So direction of explanation should be direct. And research progress and true. That's this method applied for the quantitative. We need to use the hypothesis testing. So how to hypothesize testing? Okay, in order to develop the hypothesis is based on the theoretical or literature review. So that's why if you have support from literature and theoretical, then we can propose the hypothesis. That hypothesis need to test. That the part of the research progress through. And basically on the quantitative research is more on deductive. Okay. For example, you propose 50 items, 50 questions for the questionnaire, but you send to the expert, maybe expert remove certain questions. Okay, you go to the factor analysis. When you go the factor analysis, because your item is not fit, okay, some similar item maybe cross another to another groups, you need to delete a few items. So that's why we call that quantitative and deductive. So some student also, some not agree with me. When I read their proposal, I mentioned that please delete your page number 23 in 25. Why we needed their literature review 23 and 25? Because it's not related. Why I suggest to delete? Because you need to agree because quantitative research is deductive. Don't explain others' method is not related in your research. You cannot be explained. But qualitative somehow they can explain anything that related the topic because everything they are right is based on the knowledgeable and for meaningfuls. But for quantitative, no need. Be only related matter you need to write in your thesis. If this one is not related, as the panel can be deduct the page number. So that's why quantitative actually more on the deductive. And okay, concept need to be operate so that it can be measured. So that is really important. So in this part, if you're quantitative, everything's your data need to be measured. Somehow from the raw data, I need to make a screening to make sure data is fit, data are suitable on the specific analysis. So that's why you need to key in a software like SPSS, SAMPLS, AMOS. You need to key in. You need to make sure that you need to recode the data. You need to transform the data first. You need to do some normality testing your data. You need to deduct which is another sample is not suitable. So the screening process is the most important thing when you know that the quantitative process on numerical and statistical analysis. Okay, unit analysis. This is the basic for the quantitative. We have actually two, individual and organization. For example, if you send one company, you send questionnaire to the all employee, we call that unit analysis is individual. If you send only one question for one company, we call that unit analysis organization. And this one also please take note. Some panel asks you, okay, can you explain your unit analysis? The answer only individual or organization. Okay, the answer only individual or organization. If you answer individual, meaning that you can distribute questionnaire to the all employee, for example. If your answer is organization, one questionnaire for one company only. Okay, Number 7 is generation through statistical probability. Yeah, we know that, and in quantitative, it's based on numerical and statistical. A sample required, so we can use the random sampling and involve in a large sample. So we just learn about positivism, plus we can also understand about the quantitative research. Okay, that's why if you confirm want to use the quantitative research, you need to much clear every single thing on the research method and analysis. You should be know that whatever I'm using correlation, the panel will ask you what the assumption and correlation. If you want to study, you want to test or you want to analyze correlation, they have a few steps. Step number 1, step number 2. How you get this step? How you get this step from scholar? Which scholar to represent this 10 step? You need to make sure to follow, no need to skip, to follow one by one step. No need to skip. Some of the quantitative have major problem because they skip the process. Can you show me your validity? Or I'm not use the validity. That another excuse. Can you show me how many expert? You can explain the background from the expert, from practitioner or academia. Or I just use lecturer. Why your expert only lecturer? Why not involve the practitioner? Everything, the decision and implementation will be questions. Why you do this? Why you not do that? Everything you should be know, because we already face that the challenge, because if you agree to use the quantitative, meaning that you are faced on the accuracy process. Everyone need apply for the perfect process. So the panel will ask you why you use this, why you not do that, and you need to you need to prepare your justifications. Okay. So this is the interpretism. Interpretism also on behalf on the qualitative. Okay, based on the social constructivism, knowledge is built based on the experience. How to get the experience from your exploration, explanation, from your observation of the world and human being, then the reality is built. Okay, so another two facts you need to know regarding differentiate between quantitative and qualitative. When we talk about theory, quantitative is theory testing. I'm quantitative, so I need to test a theory. That you should be know. If you are actually qualitative, we are not test a theory, but we actually build a theory. Okay, dia beza. Theory testing and theory building. And I build a theory, theory building. Theory testing, which is you are actually quantitative. So that's why somehow that the panel from your Viva and proposal defense always ask, what's your theory? How this theory can be represented as can be driven in your research? Can you prove that previous article also use the same theory? How this theory can answer your objective? Why some panel is very particular in terms of theory? Because you choose a quantitative research. Okay, if you use qualitative research, a panel not push you on theory. We know that. Can you explain why you not explain this one? Can you show that from the previous one, what theory are more related, are more suitable, are more relevant? They are not mentioned on accurate, suitable, practical, relevant. In this method of practical relevant can add your knowledge and meaningful. That's it. But different on the quantitative, everything decision represent on the best decision and accuracy. Alright. Okay, from the qualitative and interpretivism. So when we talk the interpretivism, philosophy interpretivism is meaning that on behalf on your qualitative research. Okay, number 1, the observer, part of what is being observed. Okay, human interest. So that's why they are different between quantitative. So in qualitative, yes, we are actually researcher and research instrument. That's why prime drive. We also research instrument. Okay, explanation, in-depth explanation. That the different. Yes, quantitative explain, but you are actually systematic explain. Scientific and systematic explain. But qualitative difference. We actually improve general understanding of situation, meaning that in-depth explanations. Research progress. This is a very small. That's why we call that enrichment. Meaning that memperkayakan. Because once you go to the interview, many input you can get from the participation. So that's because you ask the right person, the best person to answer your question, give some input. So you go to the second participant from the interview, another input. So you get many input, A plus B plus C plus D. So you add plus add plus add. So you record the enrichment data. So that's why you use the inductive. Until saturated. You interview the people A, B, C until you get the saturated levels. Okay. Concept must involve stakeholder perspective. No need to make it randomly. You no need to randomly. If you want to make clear, for example, when you want to make clear a school culture, so you don't have any option to make excuse. You need to interview students, you need to interview teachers, you need to interview lab assistant, you need to interview maybe the workers from the canteen, you need to interview from the PIBG, from the parents and association. Also, you need to interview for the security park guard also. Because in order to know about the school culture, we need to involve all the stakeholders. Meaning that involve the multiple perspective. Okay. All right. Unit analysis, mostly they are quite different between quantitative when they present on unit analysis. They involve the complexity of the situation in all ways. We cannot be randomly choose randomly. You can send questionnaire to all the employee. This one we cover for the following week after to make sure very clear on part of unit analysis when we are cover a topic as sampling and population. Sorry, population and sampling. Sampling frame, sampling size, and sampling technique. So also very related, aligned with in order to understand about the unit analysis. But the quantitative only represent two, which is individual and organization. But in the qualitative, that's why I mentioned of the subjectively. Automatically, the panel will ask you from your participation how you identify. Maybe using purposive, you using the snowball, you using by quota, by convenience, or the volunteer techniques. So this is a part is quite aligned and related on your sampling technique for non-probability samplings. Okay, generation true is based on abstracts. Because of why, once you go to the qualitative, use the interview, observation, and document, you actually you have rich data. From rich data, you can make answer the most important from the idea, from the idealism. You try to you can explain in deeper in order whatever the issue and problem highlight in the chapter 1. So that's why your answer and your explanation become the new abstract on that topic. So that's why we call the abstract theory. And sampling require non-randomly, and quantitative random, but qualitative using a non-random. Then which is we involve the small response only, and very difficult. So quantitative you can get 300 sample respondent, very difficult. We can interview 300 people also. That's why in qualitative you use, for example, you use sampling technique for purposive in order to get all the answers, but using the small sample. Okay. Okay, Hasbullah. Okay, this one question about the unit analysis. So, in terms of unit analysis, represent on the respondent and participation, but difference practice on the quantitative and qualitative. Unit analysis for quantitative, we divide only two, which is individual unit analysis or organizational unit analysis. In quantitative, unit analysis individual, meaning that you can send questionnaire to all employees in one organization, meaning that one organization you just send to one organization, but you can distribute to all employee, for example. But for organizational unit analysis, you just only one questionnaire for one company. If you want to send 300, you need to get 300 data, which is you need 300 companies. Okay, this is quantitative. For qualitative, is actually different practice on the quantitative, because unit analysis on the qualitative is subjectively involve multiple stakeholders, so they become very complex. Whatever the complex, they have flexibility and subjectively. It depend on what we call that the samples. In this case, sample we use non-probability sampling, which is you can use purposive, meaning that in order to get this answer by hook by crook, the best one, we need to go to the interview this guy. No option. That become that the purposive. So that's why, for example, if you want to interview headmaster, so you have options. So maybe in Malaysia we have a lot of headmasters. So you can get some what we call that cooperate from the headmaster that agree to be participate for the interview in order your question. It's actually depend on your protocol and interview item question. From that we can identify which person, the best person can be interviewed, which is you can use based on the complex. Somehow in qualitative you face a complex, you just only know one sample, one participant. How to know that another participation? Maybe you need use sampling technique snowball. From the snowball, okay, you go to the interview one person. After you done interview section, you can ask that guy, so you know that others participation like you, for example. So they are snowball another guy. Okay, you go to the another second one interview. So this second one also snowball another guy. So you need use snowball on your sampling. If you notice that, oh, this one, if you want to make interview, you need to ask the Ketua Polis Negeri Perak, Ketua Polis Selangor. Maksudnya all the state Ketua Polis, you need to go to interview. So because you already purposive that your participation. Okay. Okay, thank you Hasbullah for your question. Okay. Okay, this is some example research philosophy and approach writing. This one you can refer that this slide. So I just share from the Ruzanifah course name. So in your chapter 3 in 4.2 research philosophy and approach, you need to write. This is just example. Research philosophy is term to relate to development of knowledge and the nature of that knowledge. The adaptation of research philosophy contain important assumptions about the way it view on the world. So they give some definition what is research philosophy. Then they mention about this assumption we underpin the research strategy and the method chosen. Okay, if you are not know your research philosophy and research approach, how you want to know your research strategy and method chosen? I mean that what is your research strategy? How about research technique? We cannot know our research strategy and research technique if you cannot be identify your research philosophy and research approach first. That's the important thing you should be know. Okay, please read this slide because I'm not read all the sentence from this slide and examples from the Zanifa course name, but this really important that from this slide I try to show with you, we not just cover the general knowledge. I try to assist everyone. If you want to, you already know about this topic, but you should be know that how to write this matter in your thesis. Okay, so this another example for Surya Musa. Please read. Okay, this one from Hafiz Anif also. Okay, this one from Noti Tiani, Nur Fahana Ramli. So this one Herban Nasim. Okay, this is myself but in the Malay. I'm sorry because okay, I think one guy asked me, can you show the table in English? So we have come up the option. We know that from this class, not all write in English. Somehow researcher in write bahasa, but that's why I try give little bit in bahasa. So we know that from the Malaysia's postgrad student can know that how to write in this method in bahasa. So please understand from this class, because we not only have from international student, but we have the local student. Some the local student use the bahasa in their writing thesis. I just give little bits in bahasa. That the most 95% in this our slide is based on the English. Okay. Okay. Next, research approach. Okay, I think that today I'm cover only for research philosophy. I think we open for the Q&A. If you have the question, I try continue research approach in next week to discuss about deductive and inductive, and then another research choice. Okay, I try to add another topic also. Before that, we continue for the next week on this chapter. Sorry, this slide. We start with the research approach. Okay, so today just we cover on until we cover research design and research philosophy. Okay. Okay, before this, the first slide we cover on research design. Second one, we are cover on research philosophy. By next week, we are cover on research approach, and that the differentiate. So we have a lot of things. Now we go to the chapter 3. So in chapter 3, we a lot thing we need to cover. Okay, we have done on chapter 1 and chapter 2. We start on the database thesis. Then we start to cover chapter 1 and chapter 2. Now, a lot until now, this week, until the following week, we mostly cover on the research method. So many things, and we need to cover on the research method. If you are not clear, if you have a suggestion and anything, please ask in the group WhatsApp, or also in our during class, and in the chat room still open. You can ask whatever you need to ask. Okay, all right, I open to the question. Any questions? So I think that enough. We cover only 2 topics for research design and research philosophy. So next week we are cover for the research approach. Okay. Before we stop our section sharing, if you have question, please ask. Ada soalan nak tanya? Boleh tanya. Okay, if don't have questions, okay, I hope so everyone can understand about the research design and research philosophy. This is a starting initial stage in your chapter 3. You need to write in your 3.1 introduction, 3.2 in your research design, maybe 3.2.1 your research philosophy. So in the initial stage on the chapter 3, you need to write in your research design and research philosophy in order to sure that to make sure which the best method or design in your thesis. Okay, I hope so everyone can get some crystal clear on this topic. Still have, if you have still need to ask the question, you can ask in the WhatsApp group. Okay, thank you very much everyone. Assalamualaikum, selamat sejahtera, and good night everyone. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Assalamualaikum.
Waalaikumsalam.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Assalamualaikum.
Thank you, Dr.